OECS Commission, and UNICEF.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the show. It is Friday, March 5th, 2021, and I hope maybe you guys had a good week so far as we're heading on into the weekend. Let's start off, as always, greeting everyone. Thanks, everyone, for joining us on a Friday. You're heading into the weekend, so when you're spending your mornings with us here, you know, we're very happy about it. So thank you. For those of you listening to us on Hits FM 92.1 and 91.1, good morning, and I hope that you've had a good one so far, and that, you know, it'll pan out to be, you know, a good weekend. If you're watching us on channel 124 on UTV, Underground Television, good morning to you as well. And of course, if you're on the different social media platforms where we're streaming at this moment, we are on, but we're adding things so much already. I say by the time we end, by the time we put in everything, like whether we are social media wise, the show will be over. So we're now on YouTube, and we're also on Instagram, on Twitch, on Twitter, and on Facebook. So, you know, it is where it is. It is what it is. Also, I want to, before we get into anything, say happy birthday. That's coming from Miss Alma to her best friend Patricia Palseed, also known as Patsy, from Labrie. Happy birthday from your very, very good friend, your bestest friend, and she says she hopes that you enjoy it. I know that you're living in New York, and she hopes that you see this. So please, please, please enjoy your day. Now, guys, I think yesterday when we had a discussion on what Crazy Mary, our health minister, was speaking about when she mentioned drinking and using that, you know, gruesome murder of that young woman that occurred last month, or we found the body last month. But I think it was prudent. It has to be prudent for us to look at some other aspects of this. You know, people being attacked and everything, and, you know, people tell me I'm always speaking about women and I don't speak about the men. And there's a voice note circulating, and it intrigued me. It intrigued me. And on the surface of it, yes, the way the person's saying it, it sounds funny, and, you know, they seem like they're okay. But, you know, let's listen and then we'll talk.
Let me see. So, somebody messaged me, you know, I see a nice girl. They tell me it's wrong number. And they start talking to me and thing. So, you know, thing go on, you know. Girl tell me, check her there. I go and check the girl. When I reach there, I seen a car pull up, you know, like the girl saying, hey, you know, what's up and thing. I say, she say her friend driving. He just tell me, you know, park my car there, let we go for a lime. I say, Mazawa, them just driving, boy. I go roll, man. Yeah, I go get good, you know. Yeah, I say, 7 o'clock coming just now. Them girls will bring me back one time, you know, we just do a little drink there Saturday, a little thing at 4 o'clock. That's why the girls bring me in a bush. How much fellas come, Gasa? I telling you, yeah, the fellas just beat me and thing. Yeah. All now, so I haven't seen in my left eye. But the biggest joker, I have no money. I have no money. And the fellas well vexed because I tell the girls, you check it. I full of money, but everybody know I don't have money. You check it. Everybody know I don't have money. So them girls still lose. So the man that just posted that voice note there, and he say, he's a smart man. That man is a real smart man, I telling you. But I still smart because I have no money.
Okay, so clearly you just heard that, and I of course, we need to put this out there because, we're going into the weekend. Clearly, there's this scam, this thing going on where women are luring men out and that sort of thing. And, they're meeting up. And that's not the first time we're hearing of that. So this is very serious, guys. And I want you to be aware of what's going on. But in all of that, and the guy sounds, he sounds fine. But I just had to ask, and I just had to put it out there. What is going through your mind, men, when a woman, a stranger, will tell you come out, and maybe that thing's so much in your head, you're so much inside. I mean, you're so desperate, you're just going to go out and try to meet a stranger, that kind of thing. So what I'm saying is, guys, let's be aware and don't let that thing get in your head too much for you to lose yourself. And just a call for us to all be very, very careful as we're going on into the weekend and everything else. Things are bad. People looking for all kinds of ways to get money. And, I also don't think that it's right for these people to do that to clearly the vulnerable. I mean, if I seem really, really weird, but there's the way the guy talking, it made me laugh and it's funny. But, there are serious underlying issues there. So I just wanted to put that out as a sort of PSA, guys. Let not the swift get too much in your head for you to forget, actual safety and everything like that. Okay? Okay. Now, let us get into what we spoke about earlier on in the week, but I think now it's coming to bear. Things that we've already spoken about regarding health and just some people, and of course the same sort of suspects, speaking on the SLMD. And I remember we put out some of the projections that they made concerning COVID, and we'll look at it a bit later on. But let's listen to some people who do not believe in the experts and what they are projecting.
The projection, Andre, number one, total positive cases in 4 weeks' time, 4 weeks from the 19th, 6,000. Total number of deaths, 90. Total number of hospitalized patients, daily average 400. Total hospitalized for the 4-week period, 1,400. 800 of these moderate, 400 severe, and 200 critical.
So if you
folks, hold on. Let me just now, Charlie. It's important that we let our listeners and viewers know these are projections, okay?
Right. Okay.
Medical and Dental Association. Go ahead, Charlie.
Well, hold on. Let's repeat that. What date from the what?
The 19th.
From the 19th? 4 weeks
of February.
From the 19th. No, go ahead. 4 weeks from the... And we just want to make sure we get the information right.
Yeah.
So if it's 4 weeks from the 19th, you're talking about a week again from now.
Something like that, yeah.
So and then if the projection
a week or 2 weeks from now.
About 2 weeks.
So you're saying that we're going to double the amount we have in 2 weeks.
That's what they're projecting.
That's the projection.
So that means something is wrong.
That's the projection.
What's wrong, Charlie?
The information there must be something must be wrong.
Why do you say that, Charlie?
Because if you say 4 weeks from the 19th, and this is the kind of figure you're talking about, and we are not even half there yet. For the total from the...
Charlie,
we're almost...
That could change overnight,
Yeah, we're almost with 3,000...
So you mean for the next 2 weeks?
No, Charlie, these are projections, and they were made, and you have to put it in context at the point at which they made those projections. But importantly, Andre, let's look at... They also outlined the capacity of the respiratory hospital. Total number of beds, as I said earlier, 127. Total ICU beds, 3. Total step-down beds, 12. Total number of intensive unit staff, 4. And 15 ICU trained nurses. Total number of ventilators, 7 adults, 1 neonatal, 2 additional adults not working, 14 in storage. Total number of high-flow oxygen machines, 8. And projected consequences of the current rate of rise in infection, overwhelming of healthcare sector capacity, in particular general and critical hospital beds. 2, reduction in the number of healthcare workers as a result of infections. And 3, increased mortality as a result of number 1 and number 2. So this is serious, and it's a projection. The projection may fall short. You have to put it in its context at what point they made those projections based on what was happening at the time. Let us hope it falls short, but it's it's a serious warning. In fact, some people were saying that maybe that warning should have come, such a very serious warning should have come 3 months ago,
but then,
ahead of December.
But then again, we have to be very careful, because if you project something like this, so severe, so serious, and it doesn't come true, people will say, well, we just frightening people. You know, you have to read it accordingly. It did happen yesterday, saying from the 14th of February, which is, they say 4 weeks from then, we'll have this kind of
From
figure.
the 19th.
From the 19th, 4 weeks from the 19th.
It is projected.
It is projected. So you're talking about another 19, 20 days. So you're saying that this figure is going to double of what.
Yeah, but even if the projection falls short.
No, I understand, but at the same time, we can't just put things out there just because
No, it's based. These are medical experts. So.
But this projection we have, they can never come true. The kind of figures we are there for the next, I mean, we have to be realistic.
You mean in the time frame that?
In the time frame.
I don't know why I find Charlie so funny. I don't know. So clearly we hear the experts, medical experts, they call Komelani, come out and they're giving projections of what they're seeing with COVID. And we're hearing all that, and then you have people discussing, and Charlie will say that is unrealistic, that cannot happen. And let's take a look just to make sure of what the SLMDA said. Let's put up the first image there, where the SLMDA, their projections include, they're saying that there is a rapid rise in case numbers with widespread community transmission, reflected in the increasing positivity rate, increasing hospitalization rate, increasing morbidity and mortality rate as well. And as of the 13th, they put down what the numbers were at the time. The total positive cases at 2,000. Now we're way over 3, going on to 4. The projected statistics for the next 4 weeks, they're saying from the middle of February when they did that, they're saying the mortality rate of 1.5% of infected, hospitalization rates with moderate disease of 20%, severe disease 10%, critical disease 5% of infected. They're expecting the next 4 weeks total positive cases to be 6,000, total number of deaths to be 90, total number of hospitalization patients daily average, they're saying 400, and total hospitalized for the next 4-week period being 1,400, with 800 being moderate, 400 being severe, and 200 critical. The capacity of the respiratory hospital, they're talking about the total beds. There are 127 total ICU beds, 12 step-down beds, total number of intensivist staff, that is 15 ICU trained nurses. There are the total number of ventilators, 7 adult, 1 neonatal, and they say there's 2 additional adult ventilators, but they're not working. And then you have 14 in storage. The total number of high flow oxygen machines is, well, that's 8. And we can go on to the next page. Let's go on to the next one, because we need to get some real looking at this in real time here. 1,000 additional people, that's what they want. The emergency plan includes 1,000 additional people to complement health workers, 250 teams of 4 people as per population. Each team is responsible for 200 households and 750 people on average. Each team should visit 20 households per day for at least 3 10-day cycles. Team operate from health center with enumeration maps and 1 tablet per team. The same team remains with their designated area throughout. They will establish household databases to document each household status. The tablets will be preloaded with respective resident list, checklist assessment, questionnaire, relevant vaccination and testing app, and relevant educational material. We can go further down. They're saying about mass vaccination. Based on the supply of vaccine and prioritization, vaccination should be phased from now. High-risk health workers should be vaccinated this week. Ministry of Health prioritization to be used thereafter as vaccine shipments arrive. Polling stations, house-to-house outreach, workplace and faith-based organization outreach can also be used to target people to be vaccinated. Members of adequate facilities for observation and management of emergencies have offered to vaccine at their offices or clinics And you're also talking about the education campaign, which I think is lacking. So you're saying they need more of that. And clearly more Creole needs to be incorporated into educational campaigns. Minimum standards. There needs to be a minimum standard set for measurable performance and an escalation plan if not being met. The budget, they're saying for the 200,000 rapid tests, that would cost 4 million. 300,000 vaccines, that would be 3 million. HR cost, that is for the 1,000 people that they spoke about for the 4 weeks, that would mean $1 million to have everyone there. Now the logistics, the transport, training, in the electronic apps, 2 million, and all of that would amount to $14 million. And these are some of the things that we have to put out there, because I think it is very important. We can come off it now. I think it's very important because that is the most comprehensive sort of information that we have gotten at all from any of the health experts. And I appreciate it, because if not for that, we would not know the R rate being at 2 when it's supposed to be less than 1. These things are very important. We wouldn't know the capacity of the different hospitals, the way, our beds are. And even with the projection, we haven't seen that yet, because what we have seen from the ministry and from the health officials, they have the press conferences and they tell us, we're going to shut down bars, or we're not, or we're going to open it a little bit, and these sorts of things, but nothing with numbers to really give us some evidence-based idea on why and how they came up with their decision. So when I saw that SLMDA letter being sent to the ministry, I was heartened, I have to say, because again, with that crisis of trust, people didn't really believe in what the SLMDA is doing. They haven't come out to say anything of note. And I think that allows us, when you hear these numbers, to have greater analysis, to know what you're doing as you go about your day, about your life, with your business, with your, with your children and everything like that. So these are real experts saying to the ministry, this is what I think we need to do. But like we said before, the Prime Minister will say this.
St. Lucia recorded more than 3,000 COVID-19 cases in the last 12 months. The Medical and Dental Association, in a February 19th email to the Prime Minister, warns another 3,000 positive cases could be confirmed in the next 30 days. Those stark projections have been refuted by the Prime Minister during an interview on a local talk show Monday. He claims the SLMDA's projections were based on information he says was not correct.
To the letter that is in circulation, that we did have a very good conversation with them on Friday. And I think that, it's very clear, and we kept on saying this, that there was a backlog of tests, and that backlog would create problems in contact tracing, and that backlog also made it very difficult for many of the other institutions and individuals to follow track as to what the actual number of cases that we had. But the CMO was able to provide them with information to show that the basis of their prognosis as to where we would end up going and the numbers that they were using to arrive at that prognosis were in fact not correct.
The SLMDA's data, disputed by the Prime Minister, suggests the total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases could top 6,000, nearly doubling the current total, which as of March 1st stands at 3,390 positive cases. COVID-19 related deaths, according to the SLMDA, could also climb to 90 in the next 4 weeks. According to the Prime Minister, the island's COVID-19 trajectory is on the decline.
I think that we've all seen that the numbers have been coming down. But again, I say that, and it's not for any of us to drop our guard. We need to constantly be on our guard and continue to practice all of the social distancing, the wearing the face mask, and the social distancing at all times. This is something that can easily get out of control very quickly. And until everybody is vaccinated, 100%, we need to remain on our guard, because we still don't know whether, in fact, when you become vaccinated, well, we know for sure it protects you medically, but we don't know whether, in fact, that you can still carry and spread the virus, even though you've been vaccinated, and we're still waiting for the scientific evidence.
More than 1,000 COVID-positive cases were reported by the Health Ministry for the month of February. Several COVID-positive patients have also passed away in the last month. The SLMDA, led by President Dr. Merle Clark, has furnished the Prime Minister with a $14 million emergency plan they believe can steer St. Lucia away from a potentially deadlier phase of the pandemic.
When you hear, and we've said this before, but when you hear the Prime Minister once again disrespect and disregard professionals, the SLMDA has made their projections. They are the ones capable. Yo alele kolpusa. And the Prime Minister will come on a radio show to say that they were wrong and the CMO thinks that they're wrong, just, you know, coming out in that way. And it reminds me, and let's not forget, you know, this is not the first time, it'll not be the last, that the Prime Minister will continue to insult actual professionals for doing their job. We saw that when he did what he did with Tulsi, and it's not just him either. We've seen the people around him. We've seen what Guy Joseph has said about John Peters, and that he's, you know, making the engineers embarrassed, and that sort of reaction to professionals for doing what they're doing and for doing their job, I think, in the way that they should be doing it. We're getting more disrespect from them, and I just want to know, what will the SLMDA do about that? But before we get into that, I thought that it wasn't a Prime Minister's place to come and say anything there. And if you're saying that the SLMDA was wrong, how do we know? Wrong in what way? Why isn't the public, why don't we know about that? Because from the very onset, even with the SLMDA, that letter and even the projections, we did nothing about it because that document was leaked. So there's a sort of, you know, that hidden thing, and they only tell us what they want to tell us, and everybody, you know, koplo, and what they want to tell the people, they tell the people. That is not right, because we would not know the projections or the thoughts of the SLMDA unless somebody had, you know, leaked that out to us. And now you have the Prime Minister saying, you know, that ain't making sense, y'all ain't making sense, y'all don't know what you're talking about, you know, so that's madness to me. So even when the Prime Minister has preempted the CMO then yesterday, very briefly, which irks me, decided to speak on the issue of our COVID cases.
Dr. George, who spoke to Newsforce on the fringes of a vaccine drive in Parliament on Thursday, noted that COVID-19 numbers are actually falling.
We have been able to completely clear up the backlog of cases, and from Wednesday we've been back to the 24-hour turnaround time for our lab results. We also note a steady decrease in cases over the last few weeks. So from our forecasting, by mid to late March, we should be in a safe place. So we continue to note reduced cases every day.
The SLMDA called for more manpower and resources to be allocated to the fight against COVID-19 over fears that the healthcare system may buckle under the pressure. Dr. George says the Health Ministry was able to devise a strategy to address these concerns.
We've held meetings with the SLMDA and we've updated them on our analysis, and we have been able to come up with a plan moving forward with them.
That's all we got on that issue. I would have wanted to know how were they wrong, why were their projections wrong, what exactly is the plan, how are we going to be doing that, are we really going to be, you know, giving the 14 million that they're saying that is needed to deal with this COVID in the way that it's supposed to be dealt with. We are working, we're getting people giving us, you know, a little bit of information here and there, but we don't know what we are doing. And I also have to say, what is the SLMDA going to do about it? But, you know, let's take a look at the press release showing us that, you know, it's not far-fetched to think that we could see, you know, many more deaths here. We could see COVID-related deaths with this. So let's take a look at this press release showing us, it says, well, yesterday, the Ministry of Health and Wellness received confirmation of 11 new cases of COVID from the Ezra Long lab. These results are from a batch of 96 samples taken on March 2nd and processed on March 3rd. from there, we can already tell that even the number of testing being done has reduced, has decreased dramatically. So, of course, we'll get, the number of cases, they're decreasing as well. It says all of these 11 individuals are seen at various community respiratory clinics. The contact tracing for these new cases is underway. The new cases bring the total number of cases diagnosed in country to date to 3,814. Confirmation was also received of the recovery of 218 individuals. Presently, 2 of the active cases are currently requiring critical care at the respiratory hospital. It was reported that St. Lucia recorded 1 COVID-related death, bringing the total number of deaths to 38. Let's go a bit further down. These are... And it also says today the Ministry of Health also reports 5 COVID-19 related deaths, bringing the total number of deaths in country to date to 43. Death number 39 is a 79-year-old male from the Castries district. Death number 40 is an 89-year-old female from the Castries district. Death number 41 is a 68-year-old male from the Soufrière district. Death number 42 is a 47-year-old male from the Vieux-Fort district. Death number 43 is a 69-year-old male from the Castries Canaries district. All of these individuals had underlying medical issues and were in care at the time of their passing. The Ministry of Health extends condolences to the family and loved ones of these individuals. The Ministry of Health encourages every citizen to continue practicing the behaviors to minimize the spread of COVID. Wash your hands, wear your mask, maintain the physical distance from one another, use bleach, and we know the rest. So, St. Lucia, we have recorded five people dying, 5 COVID-related deaths, and we are still hearing people, the Prime Minister and the CMO, say to us that the numbers are, it's decreasing. Let's loosen up the protocols. And Charlie saying that can never happen, 90 deaths can happen. 5 people we're reporting in one day, and nobody cares, and the SLMDA doesn't have a point in saying what they're saying. And in all of this, I wanted to know, what is the SLMDA going to say about that? Because, what do you guys have to say? What was the discussion? Will the emergency plan continue? Instead, all I got yesterday from the president of the SLMDA, who's pretending that has never happened, no letter was sent, nobody not mentioning anything. She's going off on a tangent, talking about Cuba.
Effort. It's not surprising to any of us who studied in Cuba, who lived in Cuba, in my case for 10 years, that Cuba would have their own vaccine candidates. And so far, we know that there have been 4, and the one which shows the most promise is Soberana Dos. And Soberana in Spanish means sovereignty, and that is what the Cuban people are. They are a proud people, and as I said before, a resilient people. So the Soberana Dos goes into the 3rd phase trials in the coming days, the coming weeks, and they're hoping certainly that by later this month they will be able to ramp up production, and we have every faith that the Cuban Vaccine Institute in Havana will be able to get that done, because they take pride. The healthcare system in Cuba is their pride and joy. They believe in free healthcare for all, ensuring that their population is the most healthy population possible. Certainly, that would be able to benefit us, the Latin American countries, because that's what Cuba has done. When it comes to healthcare, no other country in the world compares to Cuba in terms of how they have helped this region, the region of the Americas, including the United States, mind you. So further sanctions on Cuba with the previous Trump administration, that hasn't detained them. They are seeing a huge spike in numbers of cases of COVID-19. February really, unfortunately, has been the deadliest month, with 108 deaths in Cuba. But they really are working hard at this vaccine, and there's little doubt in my mind that we will be able to benefit from it, and we fully support Cuba's efforts.
I mean, okay, great for Cuba, and of course they've helped us, but we have a crisis here, and your organization just put out a press release. Why aren't we talking about that? Why do we have our professionals, with their head in the sand, just pretending that nothing is happening around them? That is amazing to me. And for that reason, I need Dr. Merle Clark to say something on what they sent to the ministry. What exactly is going to happen? Do they think that they were wrong in their projections? What exactly is happening? And we talk about the vaccination and waiting on Cuba. Maybe they'll figure out with something with the vaccine and give us some. But with what we have here already, the same people that you're representing in the SLMDA, they too have not received their, I don't like to say jab, what do you want to call it? Their juke? Their injection, you know, they haven't received it yet. So in all what we're saying here, and you know, we're applauding Cuba, let's take a look at what's happening here, the crisis that we're facing and the sort of silencing that we're getting from, you know, the Prime Minister and the CMO, yes, because these things are being said to us and we do not know why. We do not know why. Please do better. Please do better. And if not on for us, on behalf of the actual SLMDA members, because they too are concerned. 70 people, frontline workers, essential workers have already contracted that virus, and then, you know, nothing for that. So please, let's do a better job, Dr. Merle Clark. And can you speak to us, tell us something about us, to us, for us, please? We'll be right back.
I can't stay.
La vaccine COVID wive Saint Lucie, except pour moun qui en l'âge 18 l'année et moutant, moun qui a travaillé à département santé qui wiskab, docteur, nurse, police, pompier, moun qui n'y pisadou, cancer, battement chair, pressure, l'oppression, et puis moun qui en l'âge 65 l'année et moutant. Ou pas ni pour payer pour la vaccine, et puis ou pas qu'à obliger au point. Registration ça fait online en tout health center et puis docteur privé. Vacciné pour vous, pour ça ou, et puis pour nous.
Hi, I'm Jim Joseph, President of the Beausejour Community Group. We believe St. Lucia can win the war against the coronavirus, and here's how. Every community in St. Lucia must mobilize, coordinate, monitor and support residents the way we would before, during and after a natural disaster. Identify volunteers in your community, assign them roles and deploy them. Ensure your elderly and vulnerable understand all protocols. Help relatives, shield them from unnecessary contact with others. Identify those recently unemployed and vulnerable neighbors living alone. Put systems in place to filter updates from official sources throughout your community. Promote the hotline number 311. If it takes a village to raise a child, then all of us can come together to defend the village against the coronavirus. Let's do it.
Together let us win this war. Say you shall be a soldier. Together we can beat this corona.
Gang! Yo, Kuya in the building representing for UTV. Hold up! Freeze! This is the Bumper Police. Yo, big up Underground TV. Gang!
I can't stay.
But I could not believe that Kenny Anthony, out of all people, was talking about what is going on down there at the mouth of the ocean at PI regarding sun minding. Now, he didn't literally say anything about sun minding, but he said they were damaging the beach at PI. I mean, how smart could one be? I mean, on a PhD, sometimes a bachelor's or a master's degree doesn't make you a very smart individual. Here we have an excavator on a 20-foot high pile of sand in broad daylight. I mean, if someone was going to do some sun minding, you think that individual would take out a huge excavator, putting on at least a 20-foot pile of sand in broad daylight and they open for everybody to see. I mean, couldn't the gentleman figure out, before he put this thing on his page, figure out, you know what, no one would do that in broad daylight, and they wouldn't have that huge excavator doing some sun mining. They're probably cleaning the mouth of the beach, or taking off the sand, or desilting the mouth of the beach. I mean, when I saw that thing, I couldn't believe that was the former Prime Minister.
Because the reason for that, folks, the wave action pushes up sand, blocks the mouth of the river. If the mouth of the river is blocked, what happens? You have rain, you have heavy rains, it's going to flood upstream because the water is not going into the ocean. I mean, that's so simple, it's ridiculous.
Just came down to find out what's going on, that's it. I've never been here before.
What coming here?
Because my mum asked me.
Someone asked a question and
listen to the way you swear. Hey, you're swearing at me and I just asked a question. Jesus Christ.
Good night, you're on the air. Let's keep it real.
Mr. William Howard.
Yes, good night, sir.
I don't know how some people must. If wrong is wrong, wrong is wrong. Check what Dr. Anthony just forward on Facebook. Okay? An excavator is unblocking a river in Choiseul, whereby you don't care, as a former prime minister and as a parliamentary rep of viewpoint, you don't even care if the sun blocks the river and when it rains, that the water cannot get to the ocean and the whole town of Choiseul get flooded and drown everybody there. But
to see who they will crown as lion champion. Liars from all parts of the West Indies, big shot liars from all them foreign countries. From a feel about 1,000 or so entry in 2 days, he boiled down and leave just 3. I had me eye on Liar the lion, because I know he does come with some good ones. But they had a younger fella named Debo, come from some village there in Tobago. He say his father is Tobago's best fisherman. Catch a fisherman wide 80 feet in span. He had to tighten the boat and swim back to land to get his brother Eric to give him a hand. You hear lie? That is lie. Lie? You hear lie?
Teacher Pussy say if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die.
Why, sir? Check it out.
The representative for Choiseul Salty Bus, Bradley Felix, has spoken out on what most individuals have indicated is sand mining at the PI beach. Videos have gone viral of an excavator removing sand at the mouth of the beach. The MP gave an account of what has been transpiring and says all the noise is much ado about nothing.
Because of the kind of wave action at the PI beach, as fast as you remove or you unblock the river mouth, it is blocked up again, especially because they are different seasons. So in any event, the current silting that's being done at PI, permission had been granted by the Ministry of Infrastructure. Okay, the intention was is to unblock the river mouth. Okay, also to do some desilting, and whoever is doing the work has been instructed to ensure that every day when they cutting away material, there's also significant spreading on the existing beach of material to ensure you build up the beach even more.
Simple. But I hardly believe, folks, that this is the first time this has ever happened on the PI beach. And if Dr. Kenny Anthony didn't know, he should call the rep for the area to find out.
Sand mining is illegal. Fines and prison sentences can be imposed for unauthorized sand mining. But that's not the case in PI Choiseul, where one construction firm has commenced a sand mining operation on Calumet Beach. Albert Jean-Baptiste is the chief engineer in the Ministry of Infrastructure and retains the authority to grant sand mining permits. In an interview with NBC Prime on Tuesday, Jean-Baptiste confirmed approval was granted to the local construction firm to extract sand from Calumet Beach.
Yeah, the full process was followed. I did get a call from the district representative who indicated that they needed some time to carry out some work in Choiseul. I do not know if it's related to restoration of the playing field or something of that nature. I don't know, but he did call me and he indicated that the particular contractor would be submitting a request to mine some sand from the PI River mouth, and that the officers in the south had already looked at it. We got the pertinent information from the staff in the south, Engineer Passad, and I asked my secretary to do the necessary due diligence and prepare the permit, and that was issued to the contractor involved.
Video of the sand mining operation unearthed renewed debate on the preservation of coastal habitats. Some PI residents have also cried foul. They claim authorities failed to notify them about the sand mining project. Engineer Chief Jean-Baptiste acknowledged the communication breakdown.
There was a delay in forwarding the permit, a copy of the permit to the engineer in the south. So he was not aware, unfortunately, that the contractor had commenced the mining. This is an unfortunate situation. It should not have happened, but it did happen, right? Unfortunately. So when it was really brought to my attention that there was sand mining going on in the south, in PI, I did verify with my secretary, and she indicated that, well, unfortunately, she had not passed on the copy of the permit to the staff in the south. I did bring it to the attention of the engineer, so I will follow up to ensure that there is an assessment of the present condition of the beach, and if there is any damage to the beach, the contractor will have to repair it at his own cost.
NBC Prime understands the sand extracted from Kalime Beach will be used in the construction of a sporting facility in the Choiseul constituency.
Yes. Bradley, how can you tell the young people or have the young people to believe that you're going to stand up to Shaftney, give you another chance, and the other time you go take on Shaftney? You had an opportunity with DSH. You did not straighten him. You had opportunity for the hotel. You did not straighten him. You had an opportunity when they are destroying our patrimony at the Pitons. You did not say nothing. Bradley, you promised the youths of Choiseul a warehouse. He said, come. Bradley, I was in Choiseul today. I see the field completed. I see you pile up sand by contractors' place, Bradley. Bradley, I stopped in the PI gap. In the morning, trucks was moving out every 5 minutes, north and south. Bradley, in the afternoon, I pass. I see more sand than I saw in the morning. Bradley, in the afternoon, there were trucks moving at every 15 minutes out of that place. You want to say you're unblocking a river. Bradley, you expect the people, the young boys, that you put the sun on the field that is already leveled, my brother. That only need, maybe I saw a grader grading it today. Bradley, you mean to tell me you will fool the young people in this next election for you, Bradley, to get a pension? Is that pension you're working for? You should have stayed in the bank, my brother.
And with all what we see there, I think I understand, especially the last person who spoke about the sort of disappointment that you get when you're looking at what's happening in Choiseul, and Bradley Felix bending over backwards to make sure that that continues. And even though, you know, you can use, he says you can use the word sand mining and desilting interchangeably like it's the same thing, and we know why the insult to our intelligence when that, you know, we know that not to be the case, and it had to take the chief engineer for us to know, well, not for us to know, but to put it out there and demati them, and then they come back with something else. And I have to say, I think, you know, you have to wonder too, because we saw Bradley come into politics, but before we did, he said he was never going to go into politics, and then when he decided that he might be going into it, he said he would not do it under the United Workers' Party. He doesn't agree with Shasta in the way that he's doing things, and here we are today. And even when he got into it, he said he's not the normal politician. He is not a politician. And I have to admit, you know, when you see somebody and, you know, you're looking at the little dread, the hair, you know, the little the beads thing, the bracelet thing he was wearing, like, you know, you're saying maybe he will be different. But then he turns out to just be lying like all the others, which makes me think, was he always like this, or is this something when you're in the space of liars that you turn into one? I cannot, and I say this with friends in the South and friends in Choiseul, that sort of thing that we're seeing here, and we've heard people within Choiseul say that that is how they're making their money, and now you have big contractors coming and take sand on the premise that you're doing it for the lives of people. And we've seen people say that. This administration speaks about, you know, lives and, you know, we trying to save lives, that sort of thing, as if you care. And then we know you're taking sand to bring all over the place in Grosele, in Miku, Asufuye, tout kote ukamene stab. So like our vole sab, these of our vole sab, and then you hear the sort of, like, they're incredulous that who would do that in broad daylight. And the reason why we have to keep talking about it is for us to know what exactly is going on. And when you think is one thing, we understand there's even more sand to take.
The Sabusha Park, a gateway for many Choiseulians, especially on holiday weekends, could not be enjoyed this Independence holiday. Why? As a result of the serious overflowing of the waterway, the natural path or outlet to the sea has been blocked by sand buildup. This has been our first such experience in as many weeks. The ensuing danger is the water trying to create its own exit, and in the process is digging its own trench, destroying the smooth surface of the beachfront and the park. As a result of the debris and other rotting material, there will soon be a foul smell in the next few days and weeks. Should we therefore not desilt because of political opportunists in this silly season?
Another ploy, another ridiculous and blatant ploy, I think, because the first time when you're trying to take sand, you party person. So now and put out you know, this video saying that we're coming here, we're coming to take sand, but we're doing it because of you and because the mangrove is flooded. For me, and I did 12 CXC subjects. One of them was geography, and I remember, you know, a mangrove being, it has to be clogged. There's no water running through it. It's just, you know, that sort of area. So that doesn't, I don't see how that works out in my mind. You can tell me if you want, but this is madness, especially when we're seeing more sand being taken and being given to different parts of the constituency. And I don't know about you, but this continued trying to vaguely people and trying to, you know, put people's mind to something that's like the misdirection. I don't think this should work at all. And then, of course, Bradley continues with more lies as he's taking from the mangrove more sand, and says this.
Plans to desilt another river in the community of Choiseul may soon be underway, days after a similar project sparked controversy. Tresha Lionel spoke to Bradley Felix, the parliamentary representative for the area, who explained what the issue is and why it needs fixing.
Some residents of Choiseul and beachgoers alike were met with a big surprise on Independence Day as they met a swampy area where the Sabusha Beach Park once stood. As we have come to understand, a clogged riverway coupled with heavy showers resulted in the flat area being completely flooded out. This issue has been brought to the attention of the parliamentary representative for the area, who recently provided more detail.
Sabusha has what we call a natural mangrove, and ever so often the buildup of sand at the mouth of that mangrove builds up to a point where the water does not flow freely into the sea, and whenever we have heavy downpours, it's the entire area gets flooded. In fact, it was one of the challenges that the developers identified that they would have to deal with in whatever development that was going to be done in the area.
Hyatt Hotels and Territor Services are currently in the process of developing a large hotel on the site of the Sabusha Beach Park. According to Felix, the developers have signaled plans to control the overflow of the water and build on the natural waterway.
They did assure us that the mangrove would not have been impacted by the development, and all that was very positive, because we have to ensure that the little areas that we have, natural mangroves, because mangroves play a critical aspect in terms of our ecosystem, and so we have to ensure that whatever development takes place, that consideration is given to preserving some of these.
In the interim, Felix says he has spoken to the Ministry of Infrastructure to offer a solution.
If we have to wait, we create another disaster. So the obvious solution, immediate solution, is desilting. And I say desilting / sand mining, because it seems to be a very popular expression nowadays when we're trying to resolve a matter. The government obviously has options available in terms of how we rectify the situation. In recent times, one of the options has been to compensate whoever is doing the work by allowing them to remove a certain quantity of sun from the area. That might be one of the options that's explored.
Considering the recent controversy surrounding a desilting project at the PI Beach only 2 weeks ago, I asked Felix whether moving along with a similar exercise at Sabusha is a good idea.
I have asked the Ministry of Infrastructure to visit the area. I have been promised by the Chief Engineer that he would send a team this week, so I cannot say whether it has already been done. Yesterday was Cabinet, so I didn't have an opportunity to follow up. But I do know that one of the solutions would be in removing or in clearing the mouth, that a portion of that would have to be spread back on the beach. But at the end of the day, the mouth has to be cleared.
No plans to desilt the area have been finalized by the Ministry of Infrastructure.
It continues to just baffle me how Bradley will continue to even say the same ridiculous lies, because when it was being taken from the PI Beach, he said, you're taking the sand to put it back on the beach, and now you're taking sand from the mangrove to sprinkle it back on the beach. I mean, does that make any sense to you? Why these ridiculous lies, Bradley? Why are you doing that? And people voted for you, and you can say what you want, but you can't dispute that people believed in you, thinking that something would come, a change would come. Instead, we found you to be just like them. And I wanted to, because, you think he's a nice guy, he was a banker, he's just signing documents and doing whatever, sitting in the office. So right now, as a politician, we don't see much of him. He might just be very quiet and lazy and not reading anything or any of the documents they give him. He just just sign bagay, voivie sort of thing. We've seen that happen. But now, when you're actively taking your time, people coming to you with a mic and a camera, and you can sit there and lie to the people that you represent and lie to the whole country, you have to wonder, what are you doing, and why are you doing this? What are you doing it for? I remember, and I think the only time, well, one of the very few times that I've ever met Bradley, we were at the PI secondary school, and there was a graduation. I was a guest speaker, and he was there as the rep. And, even then, I have to say, he seemed like a nice guy. But then looking at that and the blatant lies being given to St. Lucians, that may just making me lose respect. I've already lost it, but that sort of benefit of the doubt that you give politicians, especially new ones coming in, that is gone. That is gone. And I don't know where this is coming from. But you have to wonder too, where is this? Why are you lying? And then we understand that there are people who need these things, and they need the projects, the Pink Clee and the Fresh Starts. And these sort of people, Guy Joseph is really in charge of everything because of the policies that we're seeing being enacted, and Bradley making sure that he lies to make certain things go through. Even when he wanted agri-businesses on different lands, and he told people that was going to happen, when Guy say he need certain resources, need the sand, need just forget about that, and you have farmers that you have displaced because of the decisions that you have made, trying to make other people happy, trying to make Guy happy because he needs it, trying to make Pinkley and them happy because they need it. People wanted a champion, people wanted representation, and you, Bradley, you are failing. You are failing. Let's take a look at what, again, we're seeing in that area.
You're now speaking about those direct awards. Now, I've been listening to some of the ministers, especially a minister from and representative of Swazell.
Bradley Felix.
Bradley Felix, in connection with those sand mining.
Mm-hmm.
And we are hearing that they're given permission to those contractors who work for them. And on the ground, whether it's true or not true, it is suspect that they may be paying, because I don't see the government having money to pay those foreign direct awards. And we have contractors who, those bigger contractors like Prestat and others, owe for work that they have done. And we see those piling of sand. And it is suspect that they are actually paying those guys back with those sand to actually continue projects. All of that is hidden, and the destruction of our ecosystem. Because I am annoyed, like tonight I heard from the news that Sabwisha is going to be the next one. Now, one of the things that I have...
When you say the next one, you're talking about for sand mining?
Yes, sand mining, yes. And it came from my dear good friend, Minister Bradley, that because there was a flooding down there, with the little rains that we had, that they are thinking of doing that again. But what is to my mind is that scientifically, anytime the sea rises and water comes down, and those areas that we have, like Sabwisha, the last one that they pull up all over the sun for, that one in Vieux-Fort, the Vieux-Fort River. And if you notice that it's the Vieux-Fort River, in the construction of the road, that they open up that basin so that the water can stay up there. What those guys don't understand is that when the sea rises, it stops the water, and we have those flooding. That is natural. And no matter whether they take off those sands from there, when the sea rises, we still have the flooding. So I wonder whether they're thinking of the ecological destruction that is being done when they take off all the sand that actually stops the sea when it rises, also prevents the sea from doing much damage. When they take off these things and it pulls out all our soil, and the Black Bay Beach where I am going right now, because of the sand mining at PI, it has begun to pull out the sand from there. History tells me that when we had the dredging of Vieux-Fort Bay, that all the beaches, including Washado and all of those places, we lost the sand because the sea pulls back that thing back again. And I do not know why those guys do not look at those. What history has given us.
Caller, I mean, just to begin with, the whole concept of it being done on the basis of desilting is clearly not a reality. Because if we know those watersheds and the way they're designed, there's no large floodplain. Choiseul is a lot of different ridges. People are living mostly on the ridges, right? And not in any way, the very narrow gorges through which those rivers run towards the sea. So there's not this massive issue in terms of flooding. When you talk about flooding as a problem and you want to be doing desilting, I mean, there's so many other places in St. Lucia which would probably get priority for that kind of work. But clearly,
we have the quarries that have sand. We have all those sand banks in the center of the island that right now, that because those guys now have not been purchasing sand from those guys. I remember the road from Vieux-Fort to Soufrière. Sand was imported. You understand? The airport reconstruction, when it was resurfaced, stones and sand was imported.
Well, maybe there's an intention to cut costs, caller. Maybe that's what's going on, that people are trying to cut costs, and as you said...
They're cutting costs, and we will have to pay still. We'll have to pay. And St. Lucians must understand that it is we that is going to pay, not the ignorance of our present politicians, because your guests keep saying one thing about our technocrats. I think our technocrats has been bypassed, and politicians doing things for their own re-election. And I hope St. Lucians understand that.
And I think with that caller, he made some real serious statements there, as did Calix, because, you know, the floodplains and, you know, that sort of thing in the area, how does that really work? But that caller on that show did make some serious points when you're talking about sand being taken for free, when in the direct awards, they're billing for the sand and everything else. They can do that and they're getting paid to do it. So we are getting our, you know, the beaches and everything, our sand being taken, and nothing for that. And people are paying these companies that are billing to do it just to take free sand and just to do what they're doing. So we are paying for our country to be destroyed, for that to happen. So that for me continues to be a huge issue here. And you know, you can look at that certain area in PI and everything else and understand that if we allow this to go and people are using us and saying madness, and then you have Bradley Felix again still saying that these things are being done without paperwork. So you know what? There is no permission for that to be done, and yet we're taking taxpayers' money for the same big companies to take sand. They're charging for it, you know, to take it and to spread it all over the place, to do construction work, for them to later come on Facebook and gloat and say, you know, look at what we're doing, look at what we're building. That cannot be right. That cannot be right. And with, like I said, with Bradley Felix, I don't know, Papa. I don't know why you're doing that, but that continues to be wrong. That cannot be right for us to be taking our money for people to be doing that to us. And like I said, it's a long discussion and we have to delve into it. But again, for the people who care and the people who go there and want to see, they're being met with a lot of aggression. Take a look at what happened yesterday.
Brother man, I would like you to hit me, you know. I would like you to hit me. I would like you to hit me. I would like you to hit me.
Video everything you want, but don't put me in your video. You don't have the right to take a photo of me.
I would like you to hit me, brother.
I'm not gonna hit you.
Go ahead, do it.
Don't put me in your video.
Go ahead and hit me. I can stand there and fucking die for you. Go ahead.
Don't put me in your video.
Go ahead.
I tell you don't put me in your video.
Go ahead and beat me.
You have no right to video.
Go ahead and beat me.
I don't beat you.
Yes, I want you to do it. Your strength is your pistol would hit me. I'm standing up there, I'm not running away. Hit me.
Don't video me.
You hit me.
Don't video me, boss. You have no right to video me.
You hit me.
I give you no permission to video me.
You hit me.
I take my picture. I give you no permission to video me.
You hit me. This morning I was here. Now this is what's happening this afternoon. What are you saying? I'm a St. Lucian, you know. The driver wants to take me on right now. This is the pilot and that is out there. And abruptly they're waiting to bust out this so that the water can go out. But they're piling sand before.
And that is what you're being met with when you're going there asking for questions, asking for answers. And that is just wrong in so many ways. So all the lies, the deception, the lack of consultation, disrespect to the residents, what Bradley has turned himself into, or maybe he was always like that, all of what we're seeing here, taking our taxpayers' money, all so Guy, Joseph, and Pinkley Francis can feel happy and they will be appeased. And that is, you know, what we're doing all of this for. The millions that we're spending, all of this, the degradation of our own beaches. You know, you have to look at this country and really wonder where exactly we're going. And then even with the aggression, people running after people, take a stick as if you want to hit the person. Also, certain people in this country like Guy, Joseph, and Pinkley Francis can be happy. Is this right? How can that be right? And the person who did that video, that's Hillary Salter. So we have to say too that he was a UWP supporter. He ran against Kenny back in the day. And you could talk about whatever you want about, who you're supporting now. But St. Lucians are St. Lucians. There is no reason that anybody cannot record you when anyone is doing a state project using public funds. You can record that person. So all what made saying there, that fella that trying to be aggressive and doing that sort of thing, that cannot be right. And this is not the first time we are seeing that. We remember there was another woman who went to the PI beach who was met with a similar sort of aggression. So in all of what we're doing, we're seeing in real time how people getting their little piece and how people are doing what they're doing. We are not the priority in this country, even with the environment and every single way that you're looking at this, sort of madness going on. This cannot be right. Let's open the lines at 572. I am way over time, but 572-7588. We have, we can discuss anything you want to, anything that I've highlighted so far in the show, but when you see that, I want to know, is this a problem for you? Do you feel any sort of way at all? And I have to say from the very beginning, let us not say, I have a problem with Bradley and what he's doing. And that, of course, is despicable. But where is the representation for that community? Koteo, Miss Pauline Prosper, where is St. Rose? Where are these people to speak on these issues? And I think with all of that being said, and in the middle of all of that, this is not about elections, it's not party politics. It remains about defending and championing things that you know to be right. And we're not hearing you guys. We're not hearing you. And you wonder why, the SLP is called the St. Lucia Laid Back Party. You have to put it where it is. Let's take the call. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Tresha, it seems to me that nothing, the environment, our patrimony, is not sacrosanct. Not sacrosanct. I don't know if you remember the mangroves issue at Mokote, where Bradley said, very, very nice and smooth, Bradley said that that when he looked over, after he had signed, he and other people in cabinet realized that the mangroves were under attack, and they decided, well, look, this should be off the table. Only for the Prime Minister to come back sometime later and say, look, we were not taking this into consideration at all. It is not off the table. If it has to come back on, it will come back on. So nothing is sacrosanct when it comes to the present Prime Minister and his regime. He just overrides even the conscience of people like Bradley and others who may have had a conscience within his own government. So that is very, very clear.
Very.
So now you have the SLMDA, and the PM says that they were wrong. They were wrong about their projections and their concerns. On what expert authority, right? He should be giving us an in fact, he should, as you correctly said, he should not really be the one doing this. The CMO, somebody, so like person with expert, that can give us expert advice. But no, he just disses, and it reminds me of Trump, very Trumpian. Trump dismissing and trashing the experts, Fauci and others, right? And now we have surrogates, shameless surrogates, telling us that, look, the numbers, infections, deaths, the needs, more personnel and things like that. That's not really necessary because this cannot happen. Now, I don't know if some of these people understand the concept. It's a mathematical concept, but it's not one that is difficult to understand, of geometrical progression, and how that can accelerate, numbers can accelerate when applied in a epidemiological situation. And you are so right. When you say complot pli fort passer zeb, we can tweak it a bit. Complot pli danger way passer zeb. And you know what is the complot? The most dangerous complot, the conspiracy of silence. Conspiracy of silence among certain professionals who seem to be bowing to political expedience. And this can and I suspect it will lead to the undoing of this small nation of 170,000 people. Right? The total disregard for scientific approach, while at the same time mouthing, "Oh, we're doing it according to the science, according to the science." That
just
is
words,
appalling.
just words.
And
Yeah.
Tresha, that is very, very concerning.
It is.
Thank you
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for that contribution. Appreciate it. And like I said, I mean, Bradley, Wajay, I am so disappointed, more than disappointed. I am absolutely disgusted with you and what you have allowed yourself to become, or maybe you were always so, but I just want to put it where it is. Let's take the other call very quickly. Good morning.
Good morning, Trisha. Good morning.
Hi, morning.
Trisha, in connection with what's going on there with Shabusha and all these places, where are the experts in all of that? Where are the environmentalists? Where is National Trust? Where is the Forest Division? What's going on? Because I'm seeing a massive hole down there. Where are the people of the area too?
And I think maybe that's the problem. I think when the last caller said, you know, it's the silence. Nobody is speaking. Nobody's saying anything. But then you also have to say Go ahead.
Yeah, it seems as if Guy Joseph is the master of everything. He does what he wants. He knows about the environment. He knows about everything. And he does anything and nobody does anything. What is really going on in St. Lucia? I don't know. We're in a coma and we refuse to get out. What's going on? Trisha, honestly, I used to be pissed off of Alan Chasney and all of them. But right now I'm pissed off of us. There's something tremendously wrong with us. I don't know. Something is wrong somewhere. And Trisha, honestly, my blood has turned from red to white. I don't know what to do again. I'm confused. I don't know.
And I don't think there's any confusion, caller. I mean, you can see clearly what is right and what's wrong.
I say too, Trisha, we are under a spell. Honestly, I've never seen a nation have gone through so much oppression and nothing's been done. The people cannot stand up. The authorities cannot stand up. Nobody. Oh, Trisha, thank you. Have a good afternoon.
I see. Take it easy, caller. Take it easy there. But I think you are absolutely right. When you hear the people in the area speak about, you know, how the sand has been able to assist them financially, you take that from these people. And even within the ministry, these things are going on without permission, no paperwork. So from the very onset, it's already starting wrong. So you don't even have paperwork to trail for anybody to get to know anything. There's lack of consultation in the area. You know, lies are being said all over the place, trying to make sure Guy Joseph, the Prime Minister's Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister's, you know, everybody's Prime Minister in that cabinet there is just getting what he needs to get, and that is all that matters. We have our last call. Good morning.
Good afternoon, Tresha.
Oh yeah, good afternoon. Oh wow. Good afternoon, caller.
Yeah, Tresha, two things. First, this situation at Sabusha. Tresha, there's only one word that comes to mind when I see what's happening down there, and that word is criminal. Now, Tresha, this situation with the statement that the SLMD put out in terms of the projection that they made of the cases climbing to some 6,000 in the next, I think they said 30 days, if certain things are not done, and the number of COVID-related deaths climbing to 90. The Prime Minister came and rubbished what the SLMDA said in terms of the statement that they put out, saying that they were wrong. The SLMDA has come out to say nothing, but I think the media, the press, they have got to go to Merle Clark, the president of the SLMDA. I mean, this is not rocket science, you know. The president, because look, she could have been wrong. She could have been wrong, but the press needs to go to the president, Merle Clark, and ask her for the methodology that she used to arrive at the figures that she did. I mean, the methodology that she used can't be that complex. I mean, can it? I mean, you don't tell me our press people will not be able to understand whatever methodology that the MDA used to arrive at the figures that they did. Now, I mean, what was it? And was she talking about the 30 days from the date at which the letter was, written? Did she factor in, or did they factor in the number of tests that have to be done, the type and number of contact tracing or tracings that have to be done? Was all of that factored in for them to arrive at the projections that they did? But the thing is, we can only speculate unless and until the press goes to Dr. Merle Clark and methodology that they used in order to arrive at the figures that they did. We'll still be in the dark, and the minister can come out again and rubbish those figures because we don't have the methodology that the SLMDA used. And we've got to have that. The only way that we can be sure in terms of the projections, the only way that we can say, well, that makes sense, is if we get the methodology that the SLMDA used, so we can say, we know sure, nothing. That makes sense, or no, that doesn't make sense, and they still need to give us more information. Thanks, Tresha.
Thank you very much, Calder. Thank you very much. And you know what, as we're going into the weekend, I think we really need to make sure that all of and I think the last caller, when he said, nobody's coming out to say anything, I think Hilary Saltibus, when he went down there, and you have to, brave the sort of aggression that people are coming to you with, because, when you think you have Baka and everybody in on the ploy, on this plot to take from a country, to take and give to the same people, you feel you have Baka, but you need to take a stand, and I have to commend him on doing that. I mean, it really shows us that as a people, we need to go to where it is and make sure that people are seeing what's going on. So yes, the other organizations and everybody else, they have to come on board, they have to say something, but it has to start with an individual first. And what we saying as individuals, as solutions, is that is wrong. And Bradley Lasmerty by Moon. Stop giving sand to the people that continue to get it. The same big companies, and you have people there who you can't get a bomb sab. You can't wait till you, and then you have that thing going on there where you're using sand mining and desilting interchangeably, and it's not a big deal. It is a huge deal, and it's just a reflection of what we're seeing all around this country, and also what we're allowing to let happen in this country, and that cannot be right, Sinusha. But you know what? All of them and their lives and whoever's coming, they can see for themselves. We are making informed decisions when the time comes on what we want to see and what we want to see happen in this country. And with that, we come to the end of the show. I want to thank all of you, as always, for being with us and for having these very, very honest discussions. And I do hope that you enjoy your weekend, knowing what you know now as much as you can, I guess, with what's left of it. And hopefully we'll see each other on Monday. Have a good one.
I can't stay.